guys? Scott and Kyle with Never Hedge here with a very special guest. We got Brendan Clancy today from Barstool Sports. He's the producer for KFC Radio, correct? And what else? What else are you?
Yeah, no, my main thing is 1 Minute Man, the Instagram show. That's that thing that we've been doing for like the last year. Over 500 million views. We Gotta Believe is the Mets podcast. Answer the Internet, and all this I'm basically like co-producer at this point with Nick Hamilton. He's just like taking the reins on so many projects that I helped get off the ground, but he's like the young man who's out there hustling, and I like have been working at this for a little while, but couldn't do it without him. Jackie, Josh, everybody, it's a big team, but a lot of the stuff that Kev does, KFC, Barstool Sports, I'm contributing to in some way.
Awesome. Yep.
Awesome. Have you been there since
I mean, I didn't get hired officially right at the beginning, but Kev got the job in 2009-ish, and I immediately was trying to help out. I got him on Twitter actually. Kind of created a monster with that, but he was just they were just blogging, and everybody was dabbling in Twitter, but and I helped him start a Facebook page for it, just trying to figure out ways to promote it. And then, got him into the podcasting. We figured out Google Hangouts so we could do it with John and Dan while they were all remote. But then, so at some point Dave started paying me as a freelancer. And then it was when the Churning Group got involved and they just had some real money to throw around. Because it was all credit to Dave. He was building it out. It was probably a 20 employee operation, which is hard to do because it was him and Gaz running the administrative side themselves.
Right.
But then once Chernin came along, he could where everybody was gonna life insurance was gonna. Benefits were gonna be available. Health insurance, not life insurance. Health insurance. So that was what eventually made it a real job. And I quit my job in real estate and went full time.
Awesome, yeah. Like I said, I've been listening to you guys since forever. I was a Preem Team member back in college. Nice. I remember we would be pre-gaming to go out at night and have that on, listening to you guys, and it's just awesome.
Nice, man. I appreciate that. Preem Team, that was a fun thing. That was an experiment, and that Barstool Gold kind of ended up being that, and then that got phased out. So it's there's many iterations of all the stuff that we've been working on.
Right, and then we just got started doing this podcast 4 months ago, Scott? Not even 4 months.
Not even 4 months ago. April. End of March, beginning of April. And we were going to do one with one of our friends, and then he just had a kid, and he is good friends with... have you heard of John Boy Media, the baseball guy, the Yankees guy? Yeah, of course you have, because you're a Mets guy. And so John Boy was going to help him and one of their other friends do one about being new dads and stuff. And so he bailed on us, and Kyle was like, "You still want to do this?" And I was like, "Dude, I have never been more motivated now that
now you got to stick it to him, right?"
Other friend bailed on us.
Right.
You got Spikecast. I love it. There's no better motivation than "I told you so." And
right.
Yeah.
And then,
I thought you were going to say he had a new kid, so he just couldn't do a podcast. But the fact that he's got a kid and he's just going to do a different podcast, it's
no,
he bailed on us. Yep.
Just do a different one about being dads.
And then we Scott here kind of found a niche in doing stocks and got into the crypto space. And then we kind of had a little break where we got a ton of followers based off of. Have you heard of Ethereum Max?
I've definitely heard of it. I'm not super familiar with it, but yeah, I've definitely heard of it.
It was on Floyd Mayweather shorts in the Floyd.
I couldn't. Yeah, I didn't know who was out there with it, but it's definitely making the rounds and bubbling up.
Right. So we actually knew someone who started that coin.
Oh wow.
And
very cool.
Yeah. James Falcone was our connect on the inside. And he told us day 2, and now meanwhile, day 1, I think it went up 500,000%. And so we're like, "What the fuck, Jimmy?" where was that yesterday? But he was like, oh shit, just skyrocketed out of nowhere. And so at that point we had like just hit maybe 12 or 1,300 subscribers. So we were like, all right, we got to get one of you guys on to like, it'll be good for you guys to get exposure, and it'll be good for us, to get like one of the Emacs like insiders on. And so we had one of the guys, his name was Justin, and he
mouth vomited,
right, Kyle?
That's how he talked. And
okay,
I think he kind of wanted to be a celebrity more than a crypto guy.
Yeah, and he's works on.
He used to
the
work.
Actual like.
He used to work with the Emacs guys. He actually got fired because of us.
We kind of almost fucked up the whole Floyd Mayweather fight. Funny story. We haven't told anyone, and we've been kind of like, they didn't want us talking about it. They made us. Well, we'll back up a little bit. So we had him on the first time. The first week, he did a good job, but his internet was just terrible. Like, he just kept cutting out, and his video quality was garbage. And so we're like, all right, we'll have you on. We can have you on next week to talk about the Mayweather fight. But you gotta like sell like $1,000 worth of your fucking Emacs that's now up 1,000,000%, and buy a better computer, or just buy an Ethernet cable at least, and some headphones. And we have him on the next week to go over the Mayweather fight, and we do like a little rundown of like what we should talk about and stuff like that, and he tells us to ask him about.
Yeah, he said,
Floyd.
I didn't tell you, but
so
you should hint at it. Are you going to be on Floyd Shorts? That's what he told us to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, and so of course we just do it, Yeah. But Floyd's team, the money team, wanted to be the ones to break the news, right? Oh, and so they see our fucking interview with this guy, and they were fucking pissed. They were pissed. They were sweating us, and they almost pulled out. They almost like dropped Emacs as a sponsor, and they fucking James Falcone calls me in the middle of the night, and he's like, dude, you gotta take down all the videos, or you gotta take down the interview. And I was like, all right, buddy. And then, so during the first interview, they were talking about like their huge marketing budget. So I was like, all right, like how about giving us a couple coins, right? And then we'll we're gonna talk. Yeah, we're gonna talk about you guys anyways, because like we know you guys, and you guys are from like our area, and they put up billboards like on I-91, like kind of near our house or my house, and so then Kyle lives in Virginia. He's up the next day from back in Connecticut, and then James Falcone calls us, and he's like, dude, you got to take down all of the. So not only the interview, but anything we've done with Emacs in it. And I was like, anything Emacs related, because we did like kind of know some insider stuff just from, just knowing those guys. But so I'm like, all right, we're gonna need 120 billion tokens each, please, and we'll take them down. And he's like, all right, done. Send me your wallets. And then and we're like, that was easy. that was like, and so at the time, it's 120 billion tokens is not a whole heck of a lot right now.
It was crazy.
60 grand.
But now, we held it, of course, and we didn't make shit. So
right,
And we ended up settling for like way less than that, but we got a little bit of a better deal, because we were like, all right, we'll just take everything down for a week, and then we can still make new stuff, and then after the fight we'll put everything.
Well, hold those tokens, hodl, and maybe if we get back into this bull run, everybody will end up all right. But that's
right. Well, the thing, So the thing is, like, these guys, people were saying it's like a fucking scam or whatever, but they just didn't really know
That's
what
what
they
it
were
seems
doing
like is happening out here, you know?
Yeah, that's what's weird about these shit coins, as Dave called them.
Yeah.
Right.
Who knows who's starting these or whatever? It's a gamble.
What's weird is like
right.
So I got introduced to Bitcoin. I mean, like, I think when the majority of people were talking about it, 2017, 2018, it sort of, penetrated kind of like outside just the tiny little bubble, and like more of the masses were talking about it because of that halving, and Barstool had Marty Bent was actually like, I don't know if he was like a full-time employee of Barstool, but he was like affiliated with Barstool for sure. And Lou was big into it. And I was like, after it actually crashed, because it hit like 20 and came back down, that's when I bought some, and I just said, you know what? I'm just like not even going to pay attention to this.
Right.
I'm going to buy some just in case, and like I wish I paid attention the entire time. Even if I was just like buying little by little.
Right.
But it's it's still actually has worked out. It's even after like the crash is still profitable for me, and I'm hoping it'll go back up. But what's weird is Bitcoin is so different than everything else, and now you actually have to look at some of these other coins as more like companies, because Bitcoin is decentralized. Satoshi Nakamoto vanished. Nobody's really in control, so that makes it an entirely different beast. And then I look at like Ethereum, and you've got Vitalik and Cardano, and you've got Charles Hoskinson, and it's like, okay, like, but these guys could just make a bad decision tomorrow, and all of a sudden, your coins could tank, where Bitcoin is like, it can obviously tank, but there's that different element to it. So, yeah, I mean, what's crazy is these guys, if you had gone all in on Ethereum Max, and then, a bunch of, like, Barstool like idiots are running it, and it's just like, they could just like really screw this up, I mean, you hear like Doge and how Doge is kind of like nobody's really in charge too, but it's not, it's like a joke, and it's not even like but it's still working, there's also, and Shiba, like everybody's like, oh, that's the new thing, we're gonna all be millionaires because of it, and I'm like, I don't know, I mean, sometimes it feels like playing the lottery. It's like, it does. Somebody ends up with $100 million because of the lottery too, and that doesn't mean it was a smart decision to buy lottery tickets every single day,
Right. And then Elon Musk tweets something out, and the whole market goes crazy.
Well, it's like yeah, it's like 4 people are millionaires, and everyone else is either like up a little bit.
It's crazy when you got
down
people endorsing this stuff. You've got the money team and Kim Kardashian, and I sometimes I worry that, like, are they buying up a bunch of these coins, driving it through the roof? We're all going to buy in, and then they're going to sell, and pull the rug. But I don't know. It's tough to figure this all out. And it seemed like in April, it seemed like you could literally buy anything.
Yeah.
Like, you just throw your money in like literally any coin, and you're going to be up like 50%. And, I made a rule for myself. I said I would not buy anything that was at its all-time high. So I just looked at all-time highs, and I was like, I'm not going to chase a pump. I'm not going to, like, try and get in, like, and that protected me from a decent amount. Now, that's not saying, like, I bought every dip on the way down, though.
Right.
Because I was like, oh, good. Bitcoin hit 65. When Bitcoin was at 50, I was like, we got to get in. We got to get in. So I bought at 50. I bought at 30. I'm probably going to buy at 30. Again, not too much. I'm only going to buy like, a little bit from each paycheck. But nobody's got this figured out.
I told my buddies, like, they were asking, should we get in? Should we get in? I said, if you're willing to lose that money, then get in. If you're not, just don't do it, because I don't know what this is, especially with the shittier coins or whatever.
Right.
You could literally lose all your money.
But even Bitcoin, you have to think about it like that.
Well,
like, I mean, it seems like it's gonna work long term.
It should.
Like, but it's gonna be a headache short term. But it might not. So you really can't. Because I wish I had the guts to be like, this is absolutely 100% going to work. Because if it does work, and 10 years from now, a Bitcoin is $1 million, And I look back and I go, I should have put everything in.
Right.
I should have put all of my money in.
Ben Askren's the richest guy in the world, and we're all pissed.
Right, yeah. Ben
That would be amazing, man.
A 70 billionaire.
It's crazy out there.
It is. But yeah, you said that you got into NFTs. We tried to get into it, and honestly, I just couldn't understand it. We bought, we did on the pod, we opened up NBA Top Shot packs.
Yeah.
And it was cool for like a week, and then I just don't know what the value is.
I am into it from like a researching, observing kind of perspective. I am not like a big NFT investor. I wish I could figure that out because I see things like the pumps are going on there right now. Like if you buy some of these like Bored Apes, you know, I heard about that early on. Not early on, but like I certainly could have made a lot of money if I had the guts to buy like a $5,000 picture of a monkey. And it's like they're like all worth like $10,000 now, and I'm like, well, I should have done that, but I am not. I got 2 kids. I can't be too reckless.
I mean, how can
I'm
you
only
guess
in
that?
it in observing it, and you know, I think I want to get one of those Zed Run horses for like a couple $100. I'm not going to go crazy and buy like a Genesis horse, they call it, or something like that. I don't know. I want to dabble in it. I want to, you know, I want to get experienced with like using the MetaMask wallet to log into these things and just have a little bit more experience than the average person so that I can make like a decent investment. I'm not going to go all in on anything. Everybody keeps saying like 99% of NFTs are going to go to zero. Like everybody says, like, you know, the critics say Bitcoin is going to go to zero. I'm like, listen, I really don't think Bitcoin is going to go to zero. Knock on wood. Anything can happen. I don't think it's going to go to zero. The NFTs are really like, that's almost like a lottery too. So I can't put a lot of money in, but I just want to dabble in it. I kind of want to create content around it. Like I'm like, okay, well, what if I make a YouTube channel about buying a Zed horse, and then I go on Twitch and watch my horse race, and you know, I can bring on other people, and maybe Barstool will be interested in an NFT crypto podcast that I can get off the ground if everybody, you know, I mean, horse racing? I mean, I can't think of a more Dave Portnoy thing. We'll buy a gray horse, and you know, he'll get into it, and you know, and you know, we'll see what happens. But that's like kind of my hedge against it. Like I can try and create content around it rather than just like buy a crypto punk and hope that goes up. It seems like a lot of stuff is going up if you buy the quality assets, but that's the same thing as like buying high-end art. Like I don't go buy like a $50,000 painting. No. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what to do with it. Is it a good investment? It probably is. With inflation going crazy and everything like that, these things are probably decent investments. But I don't really get I don't really get NFTs, but I get it enough to just be like, enough people like this that it's going to be something. It doesn't mean I know how to pick the right thing. But when people do, it's just a JPEG, I'm like, I know, man, but everything, like, the digital world is going to matter. Like, you're telling me that you don't think that this whole generation growing up playing Fortnite is not going to care that they get to own a 1 of 100 skin that only 100 people can have? Yes, somebody could edit that. Yes, somebody could Photoshop it. They could go in Premiere and make it look like they have that. But, like, all this stuff is going to be verified. If crypto goes the direction that, like, a lot of us think it's going to go, then it's going to matter that you can show your wallet and be like, look, I've got this Fortnite skin that only 100 other people have. Yeah. And people are going to be like, oh, shit. Just kind of like, you know, I'm not really into sneakers, but if a sneakerhead shows me, like, you know, some Jordans that, you know, I don't know, there was like a limited edition, all of the other sneakerheads are like, oh shit, and I'm like, okay, I mean that's worth something. You like, you got thousands of people that are excited over this. It's gonna be worth something. So I don't get it at the very base level, but I get it that like one level up that I'm like, there's demand for this, at least a surface level demand now, and I think it's gonna only continue.
Right. It's no different than, like you said, the sneakers, whereas, you know, you can spend $1,000 on a pair of Yeezys or get, you know, a $30 pair of Converses. They're both technically shoes, but, you know, they'll cover your feet, but one is
You
worth
can't
way
sell
more
me a
because
pair of
everyone
Yeezys
agrees that it's worth way more.
for anything more than $100. That's what I spend on sneakers. Like you can't. I have zero interest in that.
Right.
Does that mean that there's zero?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
those have zero value? Everything has value if somebody else is willing to pay for it. I actually saw this guy.
Right.
You guys know Alex Becker? He's like a, just like he's on Twitter. He's on YouTube and stuff. And he just explained that stuff. He explained it really. It just clicked with me the way he explained it. He was just like, NFTs right now have no support, or some of them have support. Whereas like Bitcoin, it's like Bitcoin is a safer investment because you are going to be able to get out at different levels because there's enough of a demand. Like if you bought it at 60, you can still sell it right now at 30 because it's leveling out there. God, if we could just find support at 30 and just really level out. But like you didn't go to zero. You didn't lose all of. I mean, like you can be negative, but you can still get out of it. Whereas if you're buying, and now if you're buying like a CryptoPunks have been around for like 10 years. And people bought it at 5,000, people bought it at 10,000, people bought it at 70,000, people bought it at 100,000. So if it starts to tank, you probably are going to be able to get out before you lose everything. All these other NFTs, you haven't. There are NFTs. Tommy Smokes is making NFTs that like are nobody's bought it, and then somebody's bought it for $100, and maybe somebody will buy it for $1,000, but then it could all dry up, and somebody might buy that for $1,000 and then never touch it again, and the bottom completely falls out. So that's how he explained it. Like they're just too new to have support, except for a very few group of NFTs. So even Top Shot, it seems like it's got that mass interest that some of these things will retain their value, but it's still so early that you could spend $5,000 on a LeBron, and next day everyone could agree that Top Shot sucks and nobody wants it. But other things have some support, and I think more things will shake out and end up with that. Like the Logan Paul made an NFT. He's super popular. If he goes on to become what he may become, it could be worth a lot. Or he could flame out, and then it's like, what do you have a Logan Paul Pokemon NFT for? You don't know. You just can't tell. There's no way to tell right now.
Right.
No. And even with Top Shots, when we first opened that pack, I was able to sell that pack right back. I just put it for sale instant, made $50. It's not much, but it's $50. And then we did it again, and I think they're still for sale. They're not. No one bought them.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But we bought that initial pack for $9.
Sure. Oh, there's plenty of room for flipping. If you just pay enough attention.
The second one was,
I wish I had the guts to like figure out how to short some of this stuff because by the time Bitcoin was down to like 40, I think we all knew it looks like it's just going to keep going down. I mean, if you just pay attention long enough, but I'm like I don't know enough to jump into that. If I were to jump into it, it'd be like for a couple $100, nothing crazy. Because I'm not trying to get wrecked. Like I'm not trying to be. I know I don't know enough about that stuff, but at the same time, I was like, this is definitely going to get to at least 30. I did not think it was going to go below 30, but by the time this podcast ends, it's probably going to be below 30. So but I could have, if I could have been shorting the whole way down and made, again, I just wouldn't have the guts to be like, let me flip my whole investment, go short, and then buy back in low. That would have been very smart, but I'm like, if I get into it like that, I will screw that up. So I'm not going to do that right now. If I had been paying attention since 2018 when I bought in, I wish I just jumped on YouTube and was following it a little bit closer. I did say in March 2020, said to everyone I know, I was like, I should buy more Bitcoin right now. Was that 3,000? I was like, I absolutely should buy like 2 coins right now. And I should have bought Penn stock. I was like,
I said that to everybody too.
Go in on all this stuff.
Penn stock.
And I didn't do either because I'm a coward.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah.
My girlfriend was trying to get into stocks, and Penn was at like an all-time low, I think. Yeah, it was all-time low.
Yeah.
I said, just put all your money into Penn. It's going to go up.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, sports are going to come back eventually.
I'm so stupid. I don't know why I did.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not even all your money.
So
but put like,
so
if you
hard.
got some savings in there, I mean, move it over. Obviously, only what you can afford to lose.
Right.
But I mean, I knew Penn wasn't going away. I mean, I think everybody knew, but I'm like, this is definitely just people panicking. But that and Bitcoin at March 2020 literally could have changed my life.
Right. Now that you guys are with Penn, have you gotten into sports gambling at all or no?
Well, the thing,
I haven't made a ton of sports bets. I just watch it a lot more. Again, more from like the content perspective and in like trying to like see who I can help make some content. And it's never really just been Kev or John's thing.
Yeah.
John a little bit more than Kev, but I just know and I hear the lines a little bit more often, and I see people like betting on the Mets, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. That is a terrible bet. I was like, I'm sure I can just bet the Mets under every single game right now.
Just about.
And just cash. I feel like all the time. I mean, maybe the lines are adjusting, but they're just they're the worst first place team I've ever seen. So I don't understand how they're holding on right now. Barely, but so I guess I'm into it more, but I don't place a lot of bets.
Yeah. We're big bettors over here too. We're all into that. Have been before. We actually.
I mean, and that revolution is just getting going. I think that
Did you buy Bitcoin,
gambling,
Scott?
weed, and crypto? I think are all.
Did you buy Bitcoin back in the day?
Did I?
Because of gambling?
Oh, I bought probably 4 or 5 Bitcoin to throw into my Bovada account when it was like $200. And that's another thing that I think about all the time is because, I mean, that since has, what I've lost over $1,000 over the last couple of years. So, that would have been like, what, 120 grand if I just held it. That and fucking like
that dude that bought a pizza.
Right,
another use of Bitcoin.
Did somebody buy a pizza for like
10,000
Bitcoins or something like that? Like when it was like barely worth anything. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you couldn't know. No. I remember somebody told me that there was something called the Bitcoin faucet where they just like if you went to that website, you could get like a Bitcoin for free when it like first started. It was just like giving them out when it was literally like pennies. It was like you could click and be like, okay, thanks for the 5 cents, and now they're,
Yeah, well, you see all these videos of dudes who from like 2009 were like, oh, this is too volatile. Like Bitcoin's never going to get above $14.
Michael Saylor, the champion of Bitcoin, my losses. I'm like, it looks like the Bitcoin project is dead. He said it looks like the Bitcoin project is dead, just like sports gambling.
Oh my god,
dude! And now he's like all in. Now he's the champion of Bitcoin.
That'll never come back. Pot'll never be legal.
Go back and just like throw a few things.
Yeah.
Sometimes everybody. The cliche thing is we're early. Everybody says we're early, and everybody says few. Few understand this, and it's just like the corniest thing in the world that people say. But I'm just like, I'm hoping we all are still early, because I did see somebody posted a adoption curve, and they were like, this is the amount of money that like the telephone made once everyone had a telephone, because there was just a time when everybody didn't have a car, everybody didn't have the internet, and all these things have caught on, and Bitcoin is like less than 10% adopted, so it's just like it could really take off.
It could.
I'm hoping. But then isn't it weird though, because there is a lot of people who have it, so it's like
a ton.
Is everybody gonna just be like massively wealthy? That doesn't seem like it can happen.
That's what I thought about with the Ethereum Max thing. I was like, are these founders gonna be trillionaires? That doesn't make sense. Like, how does that make any sense?
Well, that's why you got to look at the market cap, because there's certain things where they're like, oh, like I know people who buy Shiba Inu are like, well, look at what Doge did. If we can get this to $1, then we'll all be rich. And it's like if Shiba Inu were to hit $1, the market cap would have to be like 100 times the current value of all money on Earth.
Right.
It's like you can't make value out of nothing. It can only you can't. It would literally be like, oh, this is now a quadrillion market cap. It's like okay, you can't have that. You can get it to half a cent maybe. So just know where you can absolutely top out, and I'm sure you'll still make a decent amount of money. If you buy into some of these things early, but it has to top out somewhere. Is this going to be a top 10 coin? You have to look at it and be like, And then I wish I could evaluate it in terms of like people are like, what's the use case?
Well, also,
like some of the things I kind of understand. Like, I get that Ethereum is really like a platform that you can build on, and you can the smart contracts, and Cardano's kind of in there too. But then I buy Polkadot because I heard somebody describe it as like the blockchain of blockchains, and I was like, okay, good enough. I'll buy a little bit of that. I absolutely don't understand. I can't wrap my head around it. I've tried to watch like tutorials on it, and I'm like, it sounds good. Yeah. This is why I don't throw like a huge amount of money into it. But I'm like, I don't know. That sounds like it could be good. So I'm gonna give it a little bit. But I can't. Some of these things I don't know. I'm incapable of fully understanding.
That's how I feel about it too. I try, and it's just I don't know how you know all the ins and outs of it because it's impossible.
Well, it's also like too fucking easy to make an ERC20 token. Like if you go to there's a website, because I tried to do it and it was pretty easy, like to just build one. All you got to do, people like post the code there on their GitHub like for free. You just copy the code and then you just change, like, there's certain spots that you change it to, like, whatever name you want and however many tokens you want. And so if you know, like, just basic, like, first grade coding, you can just make your own little ERC shitcoin. And, so the only thing is then you have to add liquidity to it, which, you know, costs thousands of dollars. You have to put up the Ethereum. But to actually make one is, like...
Yeah, I was thinking about dabbling in that.
At how easy it was. I was like, really? That's fucking it?
I was thinking about dabbling in that just again
scam?
to experience it. But the thing is, I would not want to, like, I wouldn't push it because I'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't want to cost anybody any money. But I would be like, if I make like the Clancy coin, I'd just be like, listen, this is for the Preem team. I'm going to sell it for like $10. The coins are going to be $10. There's only going to be 1,000 of them. And I'm...
Yeah. There's only
I have
going to be
nothing to do with it
them.
after that.
Exactly.
I just wanted to see if this would happen. And you
it.
never know what would catch on, but I would not want people to... I would not like be like, this is the future. There's too many people pumping a coin that are like, this is the future. And I'm like, how is it the future? At least with Bitcoin, you can say, like, listen, it's decentralized.
Right.
It's decentralized.
It's
limited.
It can't all be the goddamn future.
There's a hard cap. I do think that that's valuable. Some people don't. No, but that's fine. You know, some people don't think lots of things are valuable. But if I couldn't even say that Clancy coin was valuable, I'd be like, please don't buy this unless you want to just be like, I did this. This is a thing I did once, and I experienced it. But yeah, you're right. Anybody, it seems like anybody can make it.
It's like.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Well, and fucking a lot of people
and
are.
A lot of people are giving them away. Like you were saying, the Bitcoin giveaway website. A lot of people are just giving away coins right now that you never know. Maybe those will be worth it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I just wouldn't want it to be like a, oh wow. I mean, like, for some reason this caught on and there isn't really any value to it.
Exactly.
But that is what it seems like a lot of these things are.
Yeah.
And then it's funny because it's like I've listened to a lot about Cardano, and I'm like, I do think that has some value because it's basically like Ethereum, but it's proof of stake instead of proof of work. So I'm like, I don't think it's going to kill Ethereum, but I'm like, I find this interesting. I think that it's worth taking a flyer on, especially because they haven't released smart contracts, and if they get that done, and it's supposed to get it done in a few months, it could pump, and then I'll probably sell a little bit. But then there are other people who are like, this is vaporware, it's garbage too. And I'm like, oh boy, we're in disagreement here. It makes me scared when somebody else is like,
this sucks.
So on the other side of it, like they think,
Yeah.
I mean, Cardano, I don't know what it's at now, but at one time the market cap was like 40 billion, and people were like, it is a scam. I'm like, oh fuck.
Right.
Crap, you know?
Yeah. If something gets popular enough, like
but
half the
with
people
Cardano, at least I was like, I don't know, this is similar to Ethereum, but it has a few differences that I think are important. Kind of like it can align with the environmental climate change people, and you know, it uses a lot less energy. That seems good enough for me. I'm not the champion of climate change and stuff like that. I'm just like, but I can see how this has a lot of appeal. And then other people are like, this is absolutely worthless. Oh, crap. You know, like, but people say that about Bitcoin too, and it's obviously not worthless.
Right.
Yeah, she's like, right. Don't buy it. Don't buy it if you think it's worthless.
Well, thanks for coming on, Brendan. It was awesome to have you up here. Yeah.
For sure, guys.
Yeah.
Talking some
very fun.
Bitcoin. I'm gonna have to get
seriously.
into.
Thanks so much, man.
I'm gonna have to get into Cardano now.
You want to end it there?